Hey guys, this is Mr. Norris. Miss Stokes, Miss Wojcik, and I are all out for a meeting today. So we want to apologize that we're not there, but we definitely wanted to finish the notes with you guys so you guys know what you're doing. So yesterday we cut out and placed into our interactive notebook these two sheets. The multiplying integers tab, and then also below that was that foldable one. Okay? If you weren't here yesterday or you didn't do this yesterday, make sure you ask the sub for this purple sheet, cut it out, glue it into your interactive notebook. So the first thing that we want to talk about today is making sure that you put it in your interactive notebook. So make sure that you have this title at the top and you put your page number. Your page number might not match ours, but just make sure that you put that and then add that to your table of contents. So let's go ahead and do this so you guys have the tools in order to move forward with the lesson. So the first thing you're going to do is we're talking about multiplying integers. So if I go ahead and take my red pen here, I want to do two groups of 4. So what I would ask for you is to go ahead and do the same thing that I do. So you might want some different colors or some different pens out just so you can highlight things, and it might make it a little easier. So the first thing is I want to do two groups of 4. So I'm going to do my first group of 4. I'm going to start at 0, okay, and this would be my first group of 4. So I'll go here, so that's my one group of 4, and then I finish on the 4, so I want to do one more group of 4, and then there we go. So two groups of 4, which is perfect. So two groups of 4 is equal to my answer, which is 8. Okay, and remember yesterday we took notes on a positive times a positive is a positive answer. A positive times a positive is a positive answer. Okay, let's do the next one. I'll do a different color just for us. We're going to do this 2 times negative 4. So I want two groups of negative 4. So if I ask that, I'm going to start at 0 and I want one group to negative 4. Okay, so there's my first group. And then I want a second group of negative 4. So I'm going to go 4 more. And there you go. So I have 2 times negative 4 is my new answer, which is right here, which is negative 8. Okay? So as I'm doing these problems, you should be writing this down and marking these off in your interactive notebook. So make sure that you're having these. Your notes should be done after this. You finish this video. So for this one, we had a positive times a negative. So my rule for this one is a positive times a negative should give you a negative answer. Okay? So here's your first rule and your second rule. We've done 2 rules. So 2 positive make a positive and a negative make a negative. So a way that I remember this one up here, my positive times a positive is 2 happy people get along. So they are a positive. 2 happy people get along. If you get along, you're positive. If you have a happy person and a sad person or a negative person, they don't get along. So a happy and a negative person don't get along, so they get the minus sign. Okay, let's do one more down here. So go ahead for a second, pause the video, and try this problem out. Okay. Now that you tried it out, let's go ahead and check your work. So I'm going to go ahead and check your work. So I have negative 2 times 4. So this one's a little different. Before, if I cover up the negative, I said before I would want 2 groups of 4. But I want the opposite of that. So 2 groups of 4 would have put me one group of 4, another group of 4. But I want the opposite of that. So the opposite of that is to go in the opposite direction. So I want 2 groups of 4, but in the opposite direction. So there's my first group of 4 and my second group of 4. So negative 2 times 4 is actually a negative 8. Okay? There you go. 2 times, so negative 2 times 4 is negative 8. So my rule on this one is let's see, we have negative times a positive equals negative. Okay. Okay, so a negative times my positive answer gave me that negative answer. So if you do that, okay, remember a negative person does not get along with a positive person. So they get the negative sign. Okay? Now this is really cluttered, which I totally agree it is. Make sure you just make some room and put these rules somewhere that you can find them. Maybe right below where you glued or on the side if you have any room. The last problem we're going to do is negative 2 times negative 4. Okay? So for this, okay, if I block off this negative sign right here, okay, I want two groups of 4. So if that's two groups of negative 4. So for two groups of negative 4, I would go, start at 0, go back and back. But this negative right here told me I want the opposite of that. So the opposite of that would actually make you go this way. Two groups of 4 over here. So two groups of 4. So your answer, you can see here, is positive 8. So a negative times a negative, because we had negative 2 times negative 4, so a negative times a negative gave me actually a positive answer. I think that's the toughest one for students to remember. Okay? And just think about this. A negative person definitely gets along with another negative person. So they get the positive sign. So the only time that you will get a negative answer right here is when the signs do not match. Okay? So make sure you have that all written down. Okay, guys, so moving on to this next one. Down here, you made sure that you had this all written down. So you have this all glued down. And what I want you to do is fold each of these tabs up. And this is going to just be like a quick little thing for you guys to kind of remember. So you're going to fold each one of these tabs up and write the answer underneath. So I can't do that on a picture, so just make sure that you guys can do that. So if you fold, I'm going to start with that negative 2 times negative 3. Remember my rules from above, and I'm going to write them here. A positive times a positive gave you a positive. When you have two happy people together, they get along. Okay? A negative times a negative also gave you a positive because they match. A negative person will get along with a negative person. And my final rule, okay, was if the signs don't match, a positive times a negative will give you a negative answer, okay? Because they don't match. A positive person doesn't get along with a negative person, so they get the negative sign. So these are your rules. Another one that I like that Miss Wojcik has shown me, which I really appreciated, was right here if you draw what we call the sad bear. So go ahead and draw the sad bear in, okay? And this is just a visual tool for you guys to figure this out. So if I cover up one of them, so for example, if I cover it up, and you don't have to cross this out, if I covered up the plus, a negative times a negative is the other thing, a positive, okay? Cover up one of the negatives and you get the same thing. A positive times a negative will give you a negative. That's the visual tool we'll go more into tomorrow. Okay, so let's finish up this video. What I want to do is do this. So first I'm going to go back and do my negative 2 times negative 3. So I know, looking at my rules, that a negative times a negative should be a positive. So I know my answer is going to be positive. Okay, and I know 2 times 3 is 6. So I'm going to go ahead and write that down. So this is 6. So you're going to put that actually underneath the flap so you don't see it. Okay, let's do one more together. Let's do this guy right here, 2 times negative 3. Well, my rule is, let's see, the 2 is positive and then the 3 is negative. So if I look over here, I know my rule for that is a positive times a negative. When they don't match, you get the opposite sign. So, and I already know 2 times 3 is 6, so it's going to actually be negative 6 for this one. And just make sure that you're putting those under the flaps. Okay, keep going, finish those up, pause the video, and I will reveal the answers just right now. Okay, so the answers should be